I've got a review today for you guys of the new Stringking 3A. This is probably the first time that I'm reviewing a head, or the new edition of a head, where it looks next to nothing like its predecessor. So when I look here at a 2A compared to the 3A, I mean, there is a massive difference in that face shape. 2A has been a really popular attacker's head over, the years since this is released. When you look at that, it looks so much wider. The scoop is so much different. It's almost like I'm looking at a completely different head, not the next generation of their attack line heads. If you look at the side profile, the sidewall design is so different. It really is. So let's have a look at the face shape first. At a time where you look on social media and everyone seems to be flaring heads out to have like this kind of wide flared boxy head, I think it's quite interesting that Stringking has gone for this super narrow face shape here. It's so much narrower than anything else that seems to be on the market at the moment. It kind of reminds me of that face shape of the Surgeon 10 by STX and maybe some of the X6 series of heads that were done by Warrior a few years ago. Kind of slightly reminiscent. If you look, maybe hard to tell on the camera, but it is kind of flared in a little bit to the inner or lower rail. Not sure if you can pick that up on the camera, but it definitely has like a bit of a flare. So you have got a slightly wider outer face shape, and then having that kind of pinched inner face shape, and that's going to help with ball control. Just help catch the ball in traffic a little bit, considering it is such a narrower face shape. So it's quite interesting that they've gone for such a different look. I mean, let's have a look. Let's find the 2A again. I'm just looking at the throat there. I mean, the throat is a heck of a lot shorter there. I mean, it's got to be what, 1.5 centimetres of difference there on that throat. Obviously, that's going to mean you're going to be able to get your hand much further up on that throat when you're cradling one-handed. And just looking again at that side, might be a bit more, a bit easier to pick out here, but that sidewall is a lot different. It's clear that the 2A was designed with more of a kind of low pocket kind of in mind, as where that 3A could be a multitude of options there. I think with pocket, pocket placement could be a little bit higher, but you're still going to have, if you look at that scoop, a quicker release when you're feeding, shooting, passing the ball. So a lot different from Stringking's 3V, because obviously they have that return scoop there. So stiffness wise, pretty stiff attack head. I mean, a little bit more movement there, but it's a fairly stiff head. One thing, seems to be destroying the tag on it, but one thing I do like about Stringking is that some brands will come out and say, we've got this new super duper plastic and give it a fancy name. Stringking just say, it's a new and improved plastic. They're using great plastics in their new heads, and they're not going to try and bamboozle you with, fancy names and call it something that, sounds great, but you don't actually know what that plastic is. You just know that you're getting a quality plastic from them. So on first appearance, definitely something that people wanting a tighter face shape are going to like. Same with all modern Stringking heads. It's got a multitude of stringing holes. You can string this thing however you want. It's a very light head. It's 125 grams unstrung, so it does make for one of the lighter heads on the market. Colour-wise, let's have a quick look at the colours. This is the kind of raw or bone colour. And it's a little bit different from the previous bone colours Stringking have done. Comes in the white and obviously black, so you've got 3 different colours there. But I quite like this kind of raw colour actually, of the 3. So, great new offering from Stringking, definitely worth checking out. Excited to string one of these up. Talking of stringing though, when you do look at their pre-strung ones, I mean, look at that, that's a great pocket. Now, Stringking have been known for producing a great off-the-rack stick just ready to go. This pocket just, you know, I'd use that straight away. I think that looks great. Strung to the inside. So it's interesting that their newer heads, you know, strung to the inside, a little bit extra hold maybe. Just making that pocket a little bit narrower inside the head. Well, yeah, that is a fantastic looking pocket. And I would say it does lend itself to being a kind of more of a mid pocket than maybe the 2A was. I mean, this is pretty much strung as the factory pocket. That is a lower pocket. You look at that. So I mean, Stringking are clearly saying, you know, this it's an attack head, but you know, absolutely, if you're a midfielder, it's worth taking a look at if you want more of a mid pocket. So, so it's just dropped today. You know, impressive first, you know, thoughts of the 3A, and excited about going and trying this one out on the goal here at the store. So worth checking out, guys.